Hi, my name is Vanessa Siegel. I'm with VansieHome, and we manufacture this cute little thing here. This is a VansieHome whisk ball, and it is used for protein shake. We actually have a different version, a newer version for protein shakes, cocktails, and so forth. But these little guys are amazing little chalk paint mixers. They're great, and anything with bits and pieces in it, such as glazes, ceramic glazes, and yeah, we'd love to hear from you if you think of a way that they can be used, that's that's useful. So let us know. Okay. However, this video is not about us. This is about just letting you know how to make chalk paint, the recipe. So and how to mix it up. So there are, sorry, I have to take my glasses off. There are quite a few recipes, types of chalk to use. My two favorite are calcium carbonate and plaster of Paris. Today we're going to use calcium carbonate. If this is a video on YouTube, I'll put a link below to this on Amazon, but you can search for it yourself on Amazon. Okay, so the things that you'll need in front of you are your calcium medium, in this case calcium carbonate, the paint. We're using, the recipe is going to call for 1 cup of paint to 3 tablespoons of chalk. And so if you're using 1.5 cups of paint, then just adjust the recipe accordingly. Okay, so we have 1 cup, about 1 cup, which is a sample size of paint. VansieHome whisk balls, they come 3 to a pack. We're only going to use 2 today. Then we have 2 empty containers. And this one right here, the smaller one, is to mix the chalk and water together before I mix it with a paint. And this right here is my end container that I'm going to store my paint in. I'm making a sample size because I'm actually testing this color blue for I'm doing a kitchen remodel. And so I'm wanting to use a blue similar to this in the bottom cabinets. I've already bought a blue and tried it. No, that was not right. So this is my second attempt, and so I'm going to paint it on a door or 2 and see if I like it. Okay. Because of that, I'm not actually going to be using it right now, and so I'm choosing a container that has a nice, good sealed lid, i.e. a used peanut butter cup. If I was going to be using it today, I might use this type of container or this type of container. One day it did occur to me about a year ago that I was throwing things like this away and then going to the store and buying things like this. Duh. So now I'm big into reusing things as much as I can, and because of that, you'll see that I do things like reuse gloves. These are actually considered single-use gloves. I've probably used these 30 or 40 times, including painting the outside of my house. So I'll buy a pack of like 10 of them, and I'm painting all the time, and I still have not used it in 1 year. So, but all in the name of trying to use less plastic, right? A warning though, they do get a little crinkly and hard at the ends, but I can deal with that. Okay. And I need paint gloves even for this because whenever I paint, I always get paint on my hands. I get paint everywhere. I should be wearing paint clothes. Just because I'm doing it right here, I probably will still get some paint on my clothes. Okay. So, the recipe is 1 cup of paint, 3 tablespoons of calcium carbonate. We're going to start with 1 tablespoon of water. I generally do about 1 1/3 tablespoons, but I always like to start with 1 because temperature, humidity, things like that can affect it, and I don't want it to be too thin. So we'll just start with that. We're going to just get started. Okay, so I'm going to take this little container that I'm just putting the calcium mixture in, and I'm going to make 3 even tablespoons, not heaping, of calcium. I'm getting very low. 2, and 3. Okay, so we have that, and I'm just going to take 1 tablespoon of water and start with that. And I even take an old stick, like I reuse these too, but if I forget to or don't get to it soon enough and it gets hard on the end from the paint, I still keep them and use the ends. I have pieces of stick that come off of when I'm cutting wood and so forth. I use all of those as paint stirrers. All right. It starts out and you might think, oh, this is not going to mix. It's not nearly enough water. But if you just keep mixing, it will mix together. It's almost always generally too thick, though. And you'll want to mix here just for a second or two, even longer than it looks mixed, just because it gets thicker. But yeah, that is it's coming off in clumps. Okay, so I'm going to take about 1/3 of a tablespoon and add to that. You might want to do it in smaller amounts than that, just until you get to where, you know, you're familiar with where you're at, your environment, how it comes out. I've done it enough that I know it's going to be about 1/3 of a spoon. Okay, I have to put my glasses back on so I can actually see the consistency. Okay, yeah, it looks like it's about the consistency of paint. As I said, I'll reuse this, so I'm just going to stick that in my water so I can rinse it later. All right, so now I have my chalk mixture. Here's my paint. Don't even have to worry about mixing that. Just take it as it is. Well, that looks pretty, doesn't it? Well, my start is here. Isn't that a pretty blue? I'm excited. Oh, you know, that's a better way to show you. Isn't that a pretty blue? I'm hoping it works out. Okay. So we're going to take our container that we're going to store the paint in. And why don't I just use this? Well, this is because this is full and this is going to add something to it. And if you add the whisk ball, it's generally not enough room for it. So also I want to just have a little bit of room to actually do the mixing. So I'm going to, you can add them at the beginning or the end, but this way they won't splash anything. I'm going to use 2 in this one. And so then I'm going to pour in the paint. Well, that's pouring with this. Oops, I got a piece like that. See, I would have got paint on my hands. Okay. So, I'm going to paint the, oh, I did get a little thinner than paint. Oh, did I mention that? I like to make my chalk mixture about the same consistency as paint, or a little thinner, because I like the consistency of paint. I'm not necessarily wanting to, you know, make it thinner than it is. Although there are, but so just understand this, I'm no pro. And a lot of pros recommend making it super thin or thinner, and some may say making it thicker. I would follow the people who are experts at, you know, refinishing furniture and so forth. I do it, but I'm no expert for sure. Okay. So close this here. Get a little paint there. Aren't I glad I have some gloves? Okay. So we got our paint and our chalk mixture and our balls in there, and it's pretty simple. In this case, I just want to close it really good. If I were using something like this or this, I would probably put a grocery bag, a plastic bag around it, just in case, you know, something, paint came out. I know this is sealed really good, though. So you just basically want to, you know, this is going to, my camera is going to make it go in and out of focus if I do it up here. So I'm going to do it off here to the side, and, well, you can hear the balls in there working. If you think about it, even just a single solid ball on the inside, whenever you have a can of paint, you have a solid ball in there, that will break up all of those bits and pieces that have gotten stuck to the sides and at the bottom of spray can. And we have doing way more duty than that. We also have all of the hard wires that are mixing and frothing and whipping it up. Okay. So we have it nice and mixed, and that is it. You have now made chalk paint. We're not going to go over how to prepare your furniture. I don't. A lot of them suggest that you do a light sand. I don't. I do use chalk paint because I don't want to do any of that. I do clean the surface because often I'm redoing cabinets and they've got grease. So I use TSP and clean the cabinets really good, but yeah, this is it. From this point, it's going on the cabinets. And as you can see, it's super easy. This would be about 1/3 of a quart, and it cost me $3.98. It cost me about $4.50 to make this, as opposed to $35 a quart. Which a fourth of it would be about $8. And so it cost me half the price to make it myself. And by adding the whisk balls, you actually get the creamy consistency that you would with store-bought. at least for me, I always have a little bit of grit in when I paint on, no matter how well I mix, unless I use some sort of an electric mixer or an electric solution. These whisk ball those mean that you don't have to do all of that. You don't have to get a drill out with a blender attachment. You don't have to use an old kitchen blender, hand mixer. You don't have to. Do you know I've even used, before we developed these, I even used an immersion blender that had a whisk attachment. So it had one whisk that I could stick in the immersion blender, and that little whisk would fit into this size or this size jar, and then it would just spin. Well, that is obviously, and then you take that out and all of that, you got all those pieces you have to go and get and put together. Then the mess cleaning it all. Whisk balls, one or two just inside here, and when you want to take them out, like, I don't know if I can turn it, but see, they're sticking, it's sticking, because I have two that's sticking out of the paint. So I'm not going to be able to put my brush in here, so I'm going to have to take it out. So that would be a step I could do now. Because I'm not going to be mixing it until, using it until the weekend, I would probably leave one whisk ball in there. So this one was sticking out of the paint. So I'm going to take it out. Just going to put it in my water right here. Rinse it. That's it. I could actually do it in this little cup of water we were using, and in a second it would be completely rinsed. All right, so I'll leave one in there because I'm going to come back on the weekend and use this paint. And so it'll be handy that the ball is in there to help me mix it better at that time. But you're ready to go right this minute. And now you know how to make chalk paint using calcium carbonate. Be sure and let me know if you have any questions. If you have any questions about chalk paint, or if you have any questions about the VansieHome whisk balls. We will be doing... I'm not going to promise when, but I am planning on, in the next day or two, doing a video where we take and we make one container with a whisk ball, and we make the other container identical without a whisk ball, and then we paint it on the surface, and then take a look side by side and see, do the whisk balls make a difference? So if you're interested in that, just be looking for that. And otherwise, I want to wish you the best of luck with all of your projects. Okay, thanks. Bye. And I need my glasses. And I don't want to turn my camera off with these paint things on me. So, all right, bye.